Let me apologize for starting this program a little bit behind schedule. Hello and welcome to Journalist Hangout on Monday. I'm Ayodele Uzubakum. Today on the program, CAN urges governments to treat workers with dignity and respect as NLC declares war on corrupt judges and vows to name and shame them. I'll be hanging out Asukwo James and Emeka Madunagu. So if you're ready, let the hangout start now. Thank you for staying with us. As officers of the law, policemen must live above board in character and in the discharge of their duties. The Kwara State Commissioner of Police, Paul Odama, has ordered the arrest of a drunk police officer in the command identified as Stephen Joanna. In a viral video, the officer urinated and excreted in his uniform while being held by two of his colleagues. Reacting to the incident, the CP said the command is miffed over the matter, which is described as highly repulsive. Emeka, the recruitment process of these officers and especially Frank, I've seen fine officers, refined officers in the senior cadre, people that they've gone to all international courses and everything and reflecting in their behavior. But when it comes to other rank, especially these other rank guys, the process of recruiting them is a little bit, faulty.
Yeah, the interesting thing is that this fellow is an inspector. So it's not just another rank, he's a senior.
Maybe he rose.
Yes, he rose through the ranks, yes. But from the report, it appeared he had some medical issues. Maybe he's diabetic, because even the CP was saying that his condition appeared to be more medical than an issue of motor indiscipline. But the person who actually recorded the video that's what I'm worried about. Somebody in such a situation is in a pathetic state. It might even be possible that he couldn't even help himself. Yes, he's a police officer, no doubt about that. But there are times when, as human beings, we can be helpless. We can be in such a situation.
I thought they would have allowed it to degenerate to that level while still on uniform.
The man shouldn't even have been recorded, because such a person.
What I'm saying is that as the medical condition was deteriorating,
yes,
it's meant to have been maybe
should have been quickly. The man should have been
vacation or anything.
He should have been quickly taken to the hospital. The police, they have clinics. You have been taken to the hospital. Then, if you now have to investigate him for misconduct, maybe for drunkenness or things like that. But first of all, you have to stabilize him into a state web of inebriation. He just couldn't help himself. You can imagine passing physics on his body and all of that. I think he should have been helped to a medical facility. Then disciplinary measures should have been followed up. And I think also it points out one thing, that the police need to really do something about the psychological evaluation of not just those of the other ranks, even the officers. You see the conduct of some, policemen generally on the highway. You get to some checkpoints, you see policemen holding clubs, holding sticks, and you wonder, who are you going to hit? Are you going to break somebody's windscreen? And they actually do. In some cases, they break people's side mirrors, break people's windscreens and all that. And this is not the kind of, force. This is not the kind of police we want. We need a police, first friendly enough, in such a way that can inspire confidence in the people. So we are no longer in the colonial era, where we knew that the colonialists, what they were interested in was to subdue the people and make dehumanize the people using instruments like the police. But now what we need is a police that is friendly with the citizens, that interacts with citizens, so that the people can, the people will be encouraged to work with the police, provide information, assist the police. But this kind of thing, psychological evaluation, is very, very important.
Asuko, how did we get here? Because if you read about the Nigerian police, that book by M.D. Yusufu, you will understand the position of Nigerian police, in the 70s, 60s, and 80s. You will understand see how professional, and you understand the reason for the decadence over time. And at a point in time, policemen were preempting coup plotters. They had security reports about if a coup is about to happen, and strong. And the way we had it during the time of during the time of Camp Salems and everything. But this is not the kind of police we used to read about.
Well, I think we got here when junior officers are being, promoted well ahead of senior officers.
Yeah.
That is where the whole problem started. And then, when once that starts, corruption will start. People will start lobbying for them to be promoted. People will start lobbying for them to be moved from one particular, in quote, juicy states. You understand? Or your beats, So when that starts, that is how we get to this stage. Because people, I know some people used to tell me, some police officers will say, if you don't know one big Oga somewhere, you cannot be promoted. Or if you are not close to a particular, they have cliques, even in the police force. And I think with this police service commission that they have, they're trying to see how, with Arasi, they're trying to see how they can stop that. So that if you merit for you to be promoted, you'll be promoted, And we need to get to that point whereby anybody can come out of school, either university, and says, I want to be a police officer. Because what we just feel police officers are they just stand and then block the road, and then that is the only thing they do. But they do more than that.
Of course.
Most people don't know that it is only the police that is saddled with the constitutional responsibility to keep the internal security of Nigeria. They think that anytime there's any problem, go and bring our army, soldiers, let them stay there. No, it is the police.
Job. It is decadence over time.
Yes, it is the police force.
Deliberate.
Yes.
Deliberate.
It is the police force that should be doing most of these operations and making sure that
when you have even uprising like Boko Haram, in those days it's going to be mobile police.
Yes, units, of course, the unit that will go there.
That will go there.
Boko Haram,
banditry,
kidnapping, everything.
Zango, Kataf crisis.
Exactly. It is the police that should handle that. So when you now talk about a particular country trying to infiltrate into Nigeria, the soldiers can now go out there and then deal with it. But the local, anything that is internal, the police should be able to do that.
The police should be strong enough.
Strong enough, yes.
And
when we talk
about any insurrection within,
that is their work. So once it comes to professional conduct, we've seen professional
till now.
Third mainland
professional,
bridge,
yes.
And then
they will come and help you. They'll help you with your tires. If you are short of fuel, they give you fuel. They help you to the next.
We have to get to that point whereby we have confidence in the police force. Yes. Some people have confidence, but a lot of Nigerians still don't. I know that they are trying now. If you go to on the social media, the police PPRO, every day they are trying to, once there's any issue, they get at them, they try to solve it. People will still abuse them, even when they are trying to solve the problem. But I know that with time, because they are engaging more, I can see that they are communicating more and engaging more with Nigerians.
The civil populace.
People will begin to have confidence in the Nigerian police force. But the major thing is for us to see how we can stamp out these corrupt practices from them, whereby where there is they shouldn't mount blocks, they shouldn't mount roadblocks. When we say go and investigate a matter, we should be able to investigate it properly.
Not asking complainants to bring money.
Exactly.
Those things are not supposed to be.
When you get to the police station, they will tell you for you to get a sheet of paper and biro, you have to pay just to write statements. Things like that should be a thing of the past.
And when you look at the way it is structured and in terms of funding, the federal government, despite the fact that, they said policing is in the exclusive legislative list, but when you want to look at, how they dole out fund, apart from salary and everything, you could see that directly or indirectly, you have the largest chunk of, maintenance and funding done by the state government.
It's the state governments and corporate bodies.
Because when you want to look at it, just imagine IRS in Lagos State now. They have every other. Okay, just see around in strategic places, Third Mainland Bridge and everything. Just imagine Lagos.
The thing is that I think we've got to the point where
so underfunded,
where we must really the conversation about whether we need state police, it has to be, we have to really resolve that. State police, community policing, we must resolve it. We can't keep dancing around, do we try it, or are governors responsible enough to be entrusted with the role of managing state police and all. We must get to the point where we either bite that bullet or we say, okay, let's reorganize the federal police and make the unfortunate thing for the police is that actually you've had different agencies taking their jobs. The military taking their jobs. You have EFCC, you have ICPC.
Exactly.
Duplication. You have duplication. You
Exactly.
Because within the police, you have special fraud units, SFU,
Yes.
which is the meant to be doing the work of EFCC.
So the police, they even buy their kits. They contribute money to fuel their patrol vans. They contribute money to power police stations and all of these things. Is ridiculous. It's embarrassing. I think Nigeria, we should be ashamed of certain things being said about our country. It's not right. It's not proper.
I think the incoming administration setting the kind of agenda. I think the administration of Bola Tinubu can just do it right and maybe send in like an executive bill to the National Assembly and they can decide to
It's not the thing is, it's not even just about pumping money there, but if also monitoring how this money is being used.
Yes, as in to just even decentralize the structure first.
Yeah, of course, you know,
that don't man
state police fine. State police here, people have been saying that governors would misuse it and all that, but I think we need it. You know, at least community policing is vital, very, very vital. But once it comes to this police force, if we are going to say, okay, let's maintain this police force, we want to pump money into, we have to monitor how this money is being used. Have you gone to the police barracks before? If you go to the police barracks, you just shake your head. You just notice that
they don't deserve to live in such
environments. If you go to a police barracks and you go to maybe a naval barracks or maybe the Air Force base, you'll be shocked. It's like night and day, you know. So we have to start from there. The psyche of every police officer, including their family members, have to change. And the only way they can do that is by making sure that even where they are staying is even habitable.
Yes.
Because it's like they are using the same anger, you know, on Nigeria. What is from their house, they take it outside. If their house is dirty, their environment is dirty, they just feel that everybody is dirty.
That everybody hates them.
Exactly.
That the society.
So we have to start from home first.
Bounce back.
You know, they say charity begins at home, whether we see like it or not.
It's
so
true.
We start from there, make sure that where they are staying is habitable. They are going out to work and make sure that we stay safe. They are going home to a very sane environment. And then you see how they will even treat us as human beings.
I even feel that this idea of parking policemen in pickup vans, I think that thing something should be done about it. I don't really feel comfortable. You see policemen sitting in the back of pickup vans.
Pickup vans.
No. Their colleagues in other countries don't have two heads. We may not give them Ferraris like in some countries like the United Arab Emirates, but let's get them decent patrol vehicles.
You know, there was a time in Akwa Ibom that during Akpabio's time, police officers used to drive Prado jeeps as patrol vans.
But that was what Obasanjo started with now.
Prado jeeps.
The 1,000 Prado jeeps, yes.
There's nothing bad in it if we give them good cars. Give them a sense of belonging. Let's even start somewhere. You know,
and then people, the VIPs should also stop using them. As errand boys and all of that.
That one cannot stop.
No, but that was why people were talking about creating a separate force that VIPs could hire people for some of these
like domestic.
Yes,
carrying bags and all of those things.
I think that is where I don't agree, because security officers should not be domestic staff.
But if someone politician who molested a female police agent.
Yes, I know, but the thing is wrong.
Why?
And that is what the thing is. We just have to make sure that those who are for security, or if they are security officers, treat them as security officers. If you want houseboy or house girl or somebody that will carry an umbrella for you or bag, go and look for another person to do that. Not a police officer or even a civil defense.
No, not at all. That's wrong.
All right, moving on now. The menace of banditry is still as worrisome as ever in Nigeria. Bandits killed about 40 people in a fresh attacks in KEBBI and ZAMFARA states. According to reports, the terrorists attacked local communities in the states on Sunday and started shooting sporadically at villages. 6 mobile policemen were among the 36 victims killed at Dan Umaru in Zuru area of KEBBI State. Banditry. For you to hear 40 people, killed 40 people in fresh attack, that means you can just...
The elections, look at what happened in Benue. Look at Plateau. The problem is that we need to have a broader view of the problem of terrorism. It should go beyond just describing these people as bandits. Look at what is happening in Sudan. You see, there are mercenaries for hire all over the world now. They move across conflict zones. Small arms are so widely available. Sudan, they produce small arms in Sudan. So you find out that these people shouldn't any longer be classified as just bandits. They should be classified as terrorists. Because to just open fire on defenseless villagers and kill them like that shows that something is fundamentally wrong. Now, the deterrent, they know that is it that they believe, but if the deterrent, if there is enough deterrence to make sure that these people are caught, in fact, they are prevented from doing these things, and where they are caught, they are dealt with. I don't know how many of these people have been prosecuted or jailed or sentenced to death. I don't know how many of these people. And so people just continue with these things, and we cannot we cannot continue with this loss of lives. These are human beings. These are Nigerians, valuable Nigerians. Being wasted, 40 people killed. Look at what the one that happened in Benue just after the elections. We must say enough is enough. We cannot allow this to continue. If there's politics behind all of this, then heads have to roll. We cannot just continue to allow people, they wake up, just go and keep it. Because a lot of these people are actually under the influence of drugs. So how do these drugs get to these people? How can the state make sure that efforts, that adequate measures are taken to put a stop to all of this? It has to stop. It has to stop. The figures are really frightening. It has to stop.
Asoko, you still have 6 policemen mixed up in this.
Honestly, and we are just talking about mobile policemen, being killed among these 36. And it's sad because since the general election, we've been hearing killings, especially in Benue State, and now we are talking about KEBBI and ZAMFARA. We have so many ungoverned spaces in Nigeria, and to govern, to put it in everywhere in Nigeria will be a bit difficult, but it's doable if we have the political will to do it. And then we just have to be sincere with ourselves. These bandits come from somewhere. Sometimes we need to also sit down to analyze why they are doing this. Some will say it's because of maybe they are trying to look for space for them to, farm or for them to graze and all that. But the thing is, it's getting out of hand. The new administration have to find a way to solve the problem of banditry in Nigeria. Because these killings has to stop. We need to go back to how Nigeria used to be before, where people can travel from point A to point B. In terms of killing human beings, it's really sad that we've gotten to this point that every day when we come on the journalist Hangout, we'll have to be talking about people being killed. My own is that no bandits have been caught. Is it that these guys just come, police, soldiers, nobody knows about anything about them, and then they go fly into thin air? Because if we don't start arresting these guys, asking them tough questions, and making sure they are being prosecuted, it will continue. So if there are no punishments for wrongdoing, we will keep having this. So we need a situation whereby soldiers or police, let me use police now, because I want to make sure that the police also do their work. It's unfortunate they lost 6 mobile police officers, but we need them to be caught, these bandits to be caught, and then prosecute them. We need to know why they are doing this. Because if we don't, we'll keep going up in circle. So the new government that is coming have to strengthen the police force in such a way that we'll be able to make sure that bandits do not constitute a problem for them. Especially once it comes to states like KEBBI that are into farming, and ZAMFARA, that they have, what is it called? They have gold that we can easily mine for us to even boost our revenue. You know, so we need to get to that point whereby those who are involved in this are being caught and not just being killed. Because sometimes they say, they killed bandits. But we need them to be caught. Let Nigerians even know where they are from.
Right.
You know, let's even know who they are, why they are doing this. Maybe by the time we get to that point, then we'll be able to analyze properly. You know, it's same with the one in Benue, same the one in Plateau, all those places that bandits just go there, kill for free, and then they will go. Every day we keep counting bodies as if we are counting, I don't want to use bad words, because these are human beings. You know, so we need to be tough once it comes to, you know, the issue about banditry.
Okay, we'll take this breather. When we come back, we'll talk more journalist Hangout. We'll be right back after this time out. Stay with us.
Do solemnly swear.
Do solemnly swear.
Do solemnly swear.
Now that Nigeria's next president has been decided at the poll on February 25, attention is shifted to May 29 Inauguration Day, the commencement of a new 4-year tenure of Nigeria's 16th president since 1960, when the country gained independence. It's going to be the 7th inauguration ceremony since the beginning of the 4th Republic in 1999, and President-elect Tinubu and Vice President-elect Kashim Shettima will take the oath. Join me, Nifebi Ogutoye, every weekday on TVC News for the countdown to the historic May 29 Inauguration Day, as we bring you all updates, political intrigues, and in-depth analysis of people and events that you need to know. The countdown to May 29 Inauguration Day, live at 6 p.m. every weekday, only on TVC News.
Thank you for staying with us. This is Journalist Hangout, and we still have Emeka Madunaku and Asuko James in house, and we're talking about the insecurity. Now, if we have banditry across the north, spinning back to the south, some southern states in the southern part of the country, and we still have Boko Haram in the northeast, and a lot of people have raised that question that it is time to reorganize and take another look at security holistically.
Yes, security, but we've changed service chiefs how many times? Did the situation improve? No. Different measures have been put in place. See, government, at least, in fairness to them, they've made significant strides against Boko Haram.
Yes.
At least.
Yes.
Government has been able to really record some achievements against Boko Haram. But in terms of these bandits, there's some policies involved in it. Then there are issues of, for instance, illegal mining, like in ZAMFARA state. So you have foreign elements who capitalize on the violence for pecuniary gains, for economic gains. Now, you go down to the middle belt, such as to Benue. You look at the issue of, the rains have started. So you're talking about grazing and all of that. But you now also talk about the issue of land grabbing. Allegations of land grabbing that some of these headsmen get to some of these villages, drive the people away, kill the people, and occupy these places, and even rename them. So I think the issue of grazing should be dealt with it should be dealt with the way it ought to be. And that is, it should be ranching. We should be talking about ranching this time around. Then, who are those foreign elements stoking violence for, because they are benefiting from illegal mining? These things need to be dealt with. Then, who are these bandits anyway? Why the United Arab Emirates helped us with information about the identities of some of these people, Boko Haram especially, their bank accounts and all of that. But up till now, even Mr. Femi Falana SAN had challenged the Attorney General of the Federation. Provide the details of those who are prosecuted. Up till now, nothing has been heard.
Are you insinuating that the government in any way, they've not shown
where they should bite? They've not been. The security forces have really been out there fighting. But you need to help them with prosecution. Some of these people should be taken away from society, from normal society. What are the prosecutions? How many people have you persecuted? So how many bandits, suspected bandits, have been persecuted and jailed? What about bank accounts? Because these people don't operate in isolation. What about their bank accounts? How are they being funded? How many have been, many of such cows have been returned to their owners? Then areas they've taken over, what has been done? What about reparations? If you found money, if you traced funds to their accounts, you seize those funds, there should be a reparation fund for the victims of this banditry. They should be paid. These people should be, up to whoever is sponsoring them, these people should be exposed, and the funds seized from them should be used to pay reparation. It's not just, okay, 40 people killed. What happens to them? What happens to their dependents? What happens to their families? There should be that measure, that heavy measure. Government should come down heavily on these people. Let them also feel it. And then the other aspect of it is, in terms of recruitment, how are they recruiting people? How is it possible for them to really get people into this evil enterprise? Then the arms. How many has to cut the arms? I know this has said a lot about stemming the flow of illicit arms, especially small arms. That's a major problem for Africa as a continent, the flow of illicit arms. But these things need to be dealt with. It's not just the regular policing or the regular security. So these things must be dealt with at the root so that our country will be safer. We can't just continue with this waste of lives. These people must be put where they belong.
In terms of how, let's say, he was asking how they recruit them, and it's very easy to look at the nexus between unemployment, poverty level, a country that poverty is ravaging with the society, and to recruit them as bandits, and it's quite lucrative.
No, is it? People cannot eat, they can't feed. The only thing, anybody that comes to them, they will just sell themselves.
The next meal is not certain.
Of course.
Okay, Ainde is calling us from Lagos. Thank you for joining us, Ainde.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Go ahead, Ainde.
Okay, to everybody in the studio.
Good evening.
I want to contribute to the issue of our policemen.
Go ahead, please. Are you there?
Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, please.
Are you hearing me, sir?
Go ahead.
Yes. My contribution to the issue of our police. You see, people will continue to lose confidence in our police because police are not doing what they're supposed to do. On Thursday in the morning, I was in your office to lay a complaint. And this will be the second time. On Wednesday night, around 9 o'clock, I was coming from Costain, coming to Ikorodu. K2 bus stop, both row and flow. And that Wednesday was the second time I was attacked. Not only me, Not only me, all the vehicles in the hold up attacked by all these hoodlums. So on Thursday morning, I went to the Ekiti police station to complain. They were asking me, do I know them? To know all these boys. They now asked me to meet a police officer that I should collect his number. So whenever I'm coming like that, I should call that one. Look at that response. From there,
Thank you, Aide. Thank you for this is what we get
every day. You know, so the thing is,
the PRO is listening.
yeah, exactly.
They need to strengthen security around
actually, that's Ketu. So there are so many police stations. There are so many police stations like that, you know, and I think by the time we start to talk about them more, there will be changes, because we need a police force that is professional whenever they are doing their job. So
inspires confidence.
Yes, you know, because there was a time that people did not even respect the police. You know, but I think right now people are beginning to see that without them, we are not safe. You know.
All right. Lagos, Nigeria's social and economic hub, continues to blaze the trail in many sectors. In another testimony of the city's trailblazing act, the state governor, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, has announced the delivery of the first set of electric buses for the state's public transportation. Governor Sanwo-Olu made this known in an Instagram post on Sunday while telling residents to say no to fuel scarcity, as the buses will reduce carbon emission and increase efficiency. Sanwo-Olu, I'm sure this is coming immediately after his re-election, and they would have made arrangement for this before this time, and we're getting buses that will be powered by electricity.
You see, we I don't know how,
but there's no states. No, there's no states.
I'm heading to something.
This young man is blazing the trail. There's no states in Nigeria. Yes, I know you've been talking about it, Emeka, but in Nigeria today, not southeast, not south.
We're not even talking about southeast.
There's no state that has done.
Why hasn't the federal government blazed the trail?
So
you are talking of southeast.
Do you understand? So I feel Abuja, we should be commended.
There was no. You see, when you talk about commended, I think you will not even be doing good service to this innovation, because that is innovative governance. You know, the type of governance that makes nations work. It's not rocket science. It's not magic. These things are just there to be implemented. But what do we see? We prefer that circumlocution, go round and round and round. Remember the debate in the National 8 about this thing. What did somebody say? The deputy senator said, no. We must find a way to continue to sell. Is there a problem with selling now? We're talking about leapfrogging into the 21st century. I commend Governor Sanwo-Olu for even blazing the trail ahead of the federal government. We had talked about this. There was somebody who was arguing with me. In fact, really insulted me on Facebook when I was saying that, look, Lagos shouldn't be using buses powered by diesel. Should be talking about LPG or electric vehicles, I'm sorry. The person insulted me that I was talking. I said, what is all this? Why is it difficult for us to look into the future and take lessons from other nations? But I'm happy. It is here. The only thing I'll ask is that these buses should be well maintained, all these things assembled here. Then maintenance. Then they should be properly taken care of. They should be properly taken care of. The driver should be well selected, so that, you know, all of these things is possible. There are other things that assisted learning can do.
Power. I want to see how it's going to be powered.
Yeah.
Is power not going to be a major limitation to this?
With the new law giving states the power for them to generate and distribute and even transmit electricity, it won't be difficult. I think they want to do this in partnership with Orlando, I think. You know, so it's a pilot phase. We want to see how it works. I know it was in London that I know that fuel powered they stopped it completely. You can't even drive it into anything that is fuel. You can't drive into London, the city of London. You know, so, and they banned it for, like, so it's only when you have electric cars like this. That is what, even the buses there, they use electric cars. You know, so there are so many big cities that are moving towards this side. It's very, very innovative. But most Lagosians will always ask, okay, you are bringing these fine buses or this innovative bus to Lagos. What happens to the Danfo? The Danfo that even look at our BRT buses. Go and look at the side. Everywhere is, you know, dented. Why? Because of some of these yellow buses. So how do you now ensure that these new buses have their own routes, or if they are going to use the same BRT route? And they won't, just like he said, you're also going to train drivers to drive this properly. There are some BRT drivers that sometimes when they are driving, you will begin to wonder, is it this same,
with
you know, they'll be dragging with the same yellow buses. You know,
you're driving a bus. What
this is good. You know, the thing is, Sanwo-Olu has been bringing out fresh ideas. Like I keep telling people, I'll be selfish a bit. Sanwo-Olu is doing a train, the red line. Very, very, very important.
Powered by electricity, I think.
Electricity. The blue line is powered. I think the red too will also be powered by electricity. So we need Lagos to be connected by rail, and it will make life very easy. So when once you are bringing these innovative ideas, people are coming from the train. They are entering your electric powered buses. Then they have the last mile. Or they are coming from the ferry, they are entering, you understand? Yeah. So it's connected.
Yes, it should be a continuous, seamless.
Seamless. So it becomes easier, and then you appreciate whatever innovation that you are bringing. I think that is the best thing. This is what is good. It's a pilot phase. We want to see how it will work in Lagos.
All right. It is 2023 Workers' Day, and on such days, issues about their welfare take the front burner. The Christian Association of Nigeria has called on the federal government and employers of labor to ensure that workers in the country are treated with dignity and respect. The president of Christian Association of Nigeria, Archbishop Daniel Oko, who made this call in his message to commemorate the day, urged government to provide workers with decent working conditions, fair wages, and job security. Meanwhile, organized labor threatened to constitute what it called a hall of shame for judges that compromise dispensation of justice because of pecuniary benefits. Today is the Workers' Day, they call it, and all over the world. And when you want to look at the plight of workers in Nigeria,
it's horrible. It's horrible. Nigerian workers, I must salute Nigerian workers for their perseverance, for their patience. They really,
public
and private
and all whatever, even self-employed. It's tough. You know, some of our policymakers don't really even understand what it means to give workers their due. You keep talking about the minimum wage, whereas what we need is a living wage. We need a living wage. Then, even the minimum wage, how many have our leaders kept to the requirements, the lawful requirements for, the period within which they should negotiate a new minimum wage? No. How many states are even implementing the 30,000, which is even a starvation wage? 30,000 now is a starvation wage, but you find people earning 15,000, 20,000, and such things, and these people have to go to work every day. Something needs to be done about it. The Nigerian worker, even in some industries, factories, they get injured there. You go to some factories, even some of those ones owned by multinationals, by foreigners, they don't have basic medical equipment. These people, you see workers get injured, they just administer some, they don't give them due treatment, good treatment, and they work in hazardous environments. These things must be looked into. Nigerian workers must be treated well. You see, we have recurring strikes. Why? Negotiations are done. That's where it ends. In terms of sticking with agreed timelines, These things have to be dealt with.
Let's go.
It's wrong.
Well, most workers are Nigerian workers are really not having it easy. There's a story that Sharon did recently, and it was a guy who was injured, in factory, and then the company just abandoned him completely. The guy lost his leg, one of his legs. It was amputated. So these are part of the conditions, working conditions that people are going through, and at the end of the day, nothing is being done, no compensation. We are talking about minimum wage. How many states? There's a particular state governor who wanted to even bring somebody back again, and even wanted to go to Senate. At the end of the day, he didn't go, and he was owing several thousand months. I think it's even Abia State also. Abia State was owing.
Our favorite governor.
Yes.
We talked about
he was owing.
We're doing
months,
analysis between
months and months.
Dave Omahi
of
Ebonyi State.
He was owing months and months, and then at the end of the day, he even wanted to go to Senate again.
Basu, governor wasn't.
No, come on.
Some people call him governor do nothing.
No, but no,
was it really doing nothing?
There was a time he actually, constructed one bridge for them in Abia State. But he's not the only one. There are several other governors owing a worker's salary. Just salary, 30,000.
People rejected him. He wasn't able to choose a successor.
Yes,
he wasn't
you
able
understand.
To Senate.
But why should you even owe? And apart from that, you won't even give people that respect. There's one thing. Even if you are paying me, also respect my skill.
Yeah, right, yes, as a worker. Yes.
As a worker. Even respect my skill as a worker, because that is the only thing. I'm giving you value, and you're making money from it. And so it means that you don't value me. That's why you're not paying me.
JNLC will be threatening to name and shame judges that would have seen to be compromised the dispensation of justice.
Yeah, do you remember some years ago
Because of pecuniary benefits.
the DSS raided judges' quarters? They went after alleged corrupt judges. But what has changed? The litigants get justice these days. I think it's a good idea. It's good that the NLC that the workers, because if we have a compromised judiciary, it threatens the right of the worker. It ensures the worker cannot get justice, that the right of the worker cannot be defended by the law. So it is very good that the NLC has decided to take this up on behalf of the workers. They should name and shame some of these judges. It is wrong when you hear what people go through, suffer to push cases through. One case will last for 20 years for nothing, just because a judge has been, his or her pockets have been padded, and then just treat litigants, some litigants even die in the process. And what happens?
We have to leave it there.
Okay.
Our time is fast spent.
No problem.
Leave it there. I want to thank you, Asuko James and Emeka Madunago.
Thank you very much.
And we're counting down to our May 29 inauguration date, so the countdown starts immediately after this show. And that's our offering today. Join us tomorrow for another episode of the program.